All right, everybody. Let's talk about motivation. I'm a little tired this afternoon, which is kind of ironic to talk about motivation when you're very unmotivated. But here we go. This is a topic that I love. I've done 1,000 times. So we're going to go over some of my favorite stuff in here. Essentially, why employees do what they do when they do it. Yeah, like that. Okay. But there. What is motivation? Motivation's defined as a force that causes people to act in a particular way using particular effort. So it's the key is, I'm motivated to do something. That's maybe a lay definition, but when we talk about actual psychological definitions of it, we're talking about behaving and directing that behavior towards something or away for something with effort. And that's, a bit more precise when we start thinking about what exactly motivation is. And to pause for a second and think about what motivates you for work. If this was my undergraduate class, I would have students share it with each other, and then we would use that to fill in the blanks of all our theoretical discussions. But since I can't have you do that, that's a little awkward. Just what do you think for a minute? Pause. What motivates you at work? Okay, so theories of motivation. Motivation is extremely important in IO psychology. We've been studying theories of motivation before even we started with job satisfaction or performance, like what makes people want to work. And so as we'll talk about on Thursday night, when you hear about some of the newer theories and research on motivation, behavior is overdetermined. That means there are many explanations for our behavior, just in general, not just for motivation. So we have multiple explanations for why people do what they do. And that is one of the reasons why we have many theories of motivation. Some of the reasons, this explaining why we behave, but also because we have theories of proximal and distal motivation. Proximal means why are you going to do what you're doing right now, which is hopefully finish up this lecture. Distal motivation would be more what is motivating you to get your degree. That's a distal motivation, something that takes a lot of time. So we talk about some of our theories. Some of them are going to be more why you do the next thing, why employees do the next thing. Others are why they persist along a particular path. And it's interesting, and I think it's a bit surprising, that motivation has kind of gone out of fashion since the 1970s. And, those of us in IO psychology kind of wonder why. I think we are starting to see connection driven actually by industry, by the applied side of a connection between performance and motivation. And I'll go to that. We're going to have a little slide on that at the end of this lecture, the whole lecture. But certainly I've talked about this before, that there's a connection between performance and motivation, that the close performance appraisals and motivation, that once we kind of can merge those back together, I think it'll be a little more interesting. I think it'll be a little more relevant. More research will be happening, and we'll take some of these great theories and use them for performance appraisals, performance promoting. All right. So first, we're going to start with need theories. And the idea here, so we're going to kind of go through, the way I presented this is how it's developed from the beginning of time when researchers and psychologists first started thinking of what causes people to be motivated, till the most recent examples that, and then the discussion. I just spoke with this folks talking on Thursday night, some of the newer research. But need theories comes from the idea that we all have biological and psychological needs, such as eating, drinking, protection, belonging is a one that actually didn't come up until the 90s. And so motivation to work is driven by needs. So the one you always heard of, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy, okay? Another one that's more recent is the ERG, that we have existence. I'm forgetting you can't see this. Hold on, let me get my little annotation thing. Spotlight. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Undo. Formats. There. Maslow's hierarchy. You know, you need shelter, food, all the way up to actualization. ERG is the same thing, but it says that you have existence and relatedness needs. So like that you have safety, and then you have connection with groups, and then connection with groups that can go to you know, the larger kind of. All right, so let's just get this. Is these whoops, good heavens, these are BS theories. Okay, I'm sorry. I know everybody manager talks about it, but there's no research to support these. None, zero, goose eggs. Okay, people can be at the highest pyramid of need of Maslow's need and still be starving. Be starving artist. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, it doesn't make sense, and we just don't find the research that these needs actually explain motivation at work. That said, I had a friend who was teaching math in middle school. There was a very high homeless population in the middle school, and she was very frustrated that they could not study math in the middle school, in her school. And I'm like, well, it does make sense if you don't know where you're going to sleep at night and you don't know if you're going to have food over the weekend, that math really is not all that important. Okay, so I don't want to throw everything out. There's some intuitive needs here, but we have much better theories of employee motivation beyond Maslow's hierarchy, despite the fact that all your managers know it. Okay, fine. It's bleh. Okay. The next one, though, has a little bit more research, but it got subsumed into additional theories. McClelland's needs. McClelland, I gotta drink some tea. McClelland's need focuses on, starts with need for achievement. There are certain people who have a need for achievement. And, you know, you've probably heard the phrase, they'll dig a ditch no matter what. They're a good ditch digger. That's kind of the need for achievement. These folks like responsibility. They take calculated risk and moderate goals. And this is going to come up in another theory. What this means is they're not going to shoot for the stars and just kind of go outrageous if they don't think they're going to make it. Because, you know, shoot for the stars. You shoot for the moon, you'll fly among the stars without oxygen and die. Okay. So moderate goal, moderate risk, not something too easy because it's fun, and not something so hard you won't reach it, something in the middle. And they like feedback on performance. There's also a need for power. It's another one of McClelland's needs, and a need for affiliation, people who like each other. There's some general research that supports this in general, but generally they're not measured very well. I mean, they just aren't. And we're going to see that these ideas are subsumed into additional, the good parts of this McClelland's needs, achievement, power, affiliation, et cetera, get subsumed into other theories that are better, well supported empirically. Okay. All right. Whew, the first 10 minutes. There we go. Sounds good. Let me see if I can get this to pause. We'll see. Hold on. No, it just made a noise, right? Let's see what. All right. Stop recording. It did.